Okay, first things first, we need to cut our lumber to the different measurements that we need. And I, for some reason, decided to use my skill saw rather than my miter saw. So don't be me, be smart. Make sure you keep track of all your cuts. Let's now square up those edges for a clean glue up. This part of the process will feel tedious and repetitive, but it is absolutely necessary to end up with a beautiful looking table. Here we're going to be choosing the best looking face for the tabletop. And once you have all your boards arranged and faces chosen, I do recommend marking for your final measurements like I am doing right here. You just don't want to end up with boards glued up in different places and then you don't have the dimensions that you want for your table. So take your time in doing this part. If you don't have a domino, you can also use dowels for this. Once you have everything done and glued up, it's time to clamp it and let it dry. Just remember that I have these little pieces of walnut that are not too thick that I'm going to use to wrap around the entire table, giving it a better look. But I need to glue them together first in order to be long enough, so let's do that real fast. so I do have these pieces. I cut two sides already, and I want to apologize because I did not show the process of that, but it was very simple. But here in Texas, it's very difficult to be a woodworker out of a garage. It gets really hot and difficult sometimes to focus on what you're doing or want to do it. So I just wanted to get it done as soon as possible, and well, as fast as possible. So but all I did was cut. So you can achieve this with a long straight edge and a skill saw. Just make sure that you square the corner right here so that you have a good 45 in there. And then I use my jointer, but if you don't have one, you should be fine with just one cut. I had to use it because I had to do it in two cuts. But yeah, the next step is going to be to use the table saw to run it through and cut the length and the width. So let's do that. And here I'm using my planer to smooth those faces and have the same thickness for all my 4 boards. And if you don't have a planer, make sure you just spend enough time sanding and leaving it all the way that you want and as close as possible when it comes to the thickness. Okay, so let me share my mistake here so that hopefully you don't make the same one. And if you look at this, the pattern is not exactly what I was hoping for. I was hoping this one to come this way and then this one to come this way. And the original plan had worked because I had not decided which one would be the top. Now that I did decide what would be the top, the flow just doesn't happen that way that I wanted it. So I'm gonna leave it as is because I already did a lot of work into this. But if you make a table like this one, make sure you consider where the orientation goes to. At least if they don't meet, if the joints don't meet right there, exactly, at least is the pattern that you intended from the very beginning, unless this is what you want. But this is not what I wanted. So it is very unfortunate, but it is what it is at this point. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like for when the walnut inlay goes in there, and of course we're going to have the other piece going around. It's going to make it look a lot better than if it was just a pine. Now before I do anything with the inlays, of course we need to put them together. So what I'm going to do these two, then these two, and then I'm going to clamp them. Once these are dry, I'm going to do this, put it all together now. Here I'm just prepping the walnut inlay and edge for the table. the next step now, I did a little bit of sanding actually. I did it off camera because I'm sure nobody wants to see anybody sanding for an hour. So I did sanding on the bottom and I did sanding on the top. And I'm gonna do the inlays now, and I'm gonna finish up with a little more sanding and then more finish. I gotta do inlays and then the edge around as well. And yeah, it's starting to look good. This is my favorite part of the build, of any build, the detail part, when I'm starting to see everything come together. So yeah, let's get going. As I said before, this is the part that started to be very satisfying, to see the table come together and to look the way that almost exactly the way I wanted it to look. And hey, if you enjoy content like this one, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. Okay, so the table is finally out of the clamps. I did do a little bit of work before I came to record, but it's just a flush trim bit to make sure all of this is nice and flush, and a little bit of sanding so it looks good for the shot. However, I still need to do a small round over all around the table. I'm gonna do one at the top and then at the bottom as well. And we're at the final stages of this. And we're getting to the end of this project. It's looking really, really good in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.